see that there's the DWG file, and there's the file I'm going to borrow, just to try and show you how this works. Okay, so you've got your DWG file. Let's try this now. This is tricky, so I'll probably make some mistakes as well, but Richard's there to shout out and keep me right. So I'll just try and take it as slowly as I can. And we're going to do it a fairly simple method. So what I'll do first is I'll go into my view map. And we don't actually seem to have a sea level datum here, so what I'll do is I'll just kind of, first of all, go to the organizer and maybe drag over the sea level datum. Because that's where I'm going to put this in here. And, you know, for now, the settings, I'm probably going to leave them as all, only because I don't know what layer names the engineers put. Sometimes they're very complex layer names. We can put it onto a layer combination ourselves that maybe suits our way of working, like Richard uses site, bulk and location, which makes sense because you can turn it off whenever we're finished with it. So, but for now, in case something disappears, I'm going to leave it the way it is and just open it up and see what's there. At the minute, you can see, we can see a roof. That's kind of unusual, but that's kind of good in a way too, because then I can show you how to stop it doing that, right? So I think this person, that roof is, if you look at the settings for these roofs, this is something that we probably have, I don't know, maybe Richard's touched on it, but in individual talks, but there's a thing called, when you model something, you can show it on its home story, or show it in the home story and one below and above, or in this case, all stories. So I'm just going to make this one, and it's home story only for now. And that's okay, I'll continue. So, you know.
So don't be trace reference.
Yeah, trace reference as well there. So basically there's nothing there at the moment, all right? And what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring in that engineers file. So the way, this is different from my old video. I had to update the video this year. So we're going to go File, Interoperability, Merge from File. And this is all in the video. I've even written notes to help you understand that. And you might say, well, what does this interoperability mean? It just means the ability to work with consultants who probably use different CAD packages. It could be Tekla for structural engineers. It could be AutoCAD. It could be Revit. Okay? There's a video on Moodle, honestly. So I don't think you should do that, and I'm glad you didn't. All right? I put myself out there enough. So, and if you're going to do that, guys, it's probably, you might want to ask the tutors, because I know some colleagues at staff meetings are not sure about this. So just make sure you do that, because I'd rather be in control of things, and I've gone to trouble of hours of making a video for you. So this is going to bring in a file. So basically, we're going to go, and you might go to the desktop and say, well, I can't see it. This could be the first thing you say, well, look, you could go to DWG file, or you could go to all files. And there's, I'm pretty sure this is a DWG file, so when I hover over it, it says DWG. So let's click that, and there should be a few dialog boxes come up. Click open. And one of the first things that opens up, we're just going to accept the default. Merge content of model space. So model space and paper space are kind of environments you use in AutoCAD or used to anyway. So I'm just going to click OK. And then you've got this one, which could be a different setup depending on which engineers have sent you the drawings. But normally this is okay. The scale seems to be okay. But we're going to check that when we bring it in. I got one time that I had to blow up thousands of times because the guy had obviously mixed up millimeters and meters. So basically, I'm just going to go along with this. The only one that you might have to check is this editable import, but just leave it the way it is. We're not really going to edit it at all, but just click merge. And if you've done it, you should be followed around the screen by this little pencil. And I'm hoping that something will appear. And this layers, right, and none of them are locked, but you can see how there's very strange names here. New doc, floor plan, all this stuff. So I'll just click OK. And then you can see that we've got our site plan. Okay? That wasn't too bad, was it? Because once you've downloaded the DWG, just browse to it. And as I say, one student already has used this successfully, so the video does seem to work. And the review was that it was useful. So hopefully you'll find the same. Now once you've got it, you might want to just have a look around it. And you'll see that, okay, this is the lowest level, 8.8. And then what's the highest? missed up here, 9.4, looks to be 9.85, so it might be worth making a note of that. Because we kind of have to model, it's like somebody that got sculpture or clay. We're going to get a slab, and then we're going to chip away at it to create the contours, okay? So I want to make sure I create my terrain model within this kind of zone, if you like. So let's create a mesh. Now the layers down here custom. What's that?
Do you want to put them onto your site documentation?
Well, I'll just put it as all for now. I'd like to get mesh done first. I can do that a bit later. I just want to make sure I can get it, right?
Yeah.
But you can do that. I mean, the only thing is, if you're going to do that, you'd have to grab each of these. I don't know if I can grab them all at once, but sometimes this works. If I go edit, select all, and try it. This is what Richard means. You can go up to site. Oh, where is it? See that one? Doc, bulk, site, location. You could try putting them onto that. I haven't done this in the video, by the way. It's up to yourself. You don't have to do it. It's not going to affect the mesh. It's just maybe a practice you might want to put in. But we'll try that and see. But if you do that, at the end we'll want to be able to turn that off. So I don't know if they're all in there at the minute. I'll have to go to that layer and turn it off and see which ones are still there. So it wasn't, let's see, Doc.
If you go into the tools,
There you go.
control all of this.
So sometimes it seems, for some reason, even though I did select all, it didn't seem to do them all for some reason, but that's where I'm having it. When I did this the other day, it went and did it individually as well. So you can do that if you want, but I'll just turn them all on for now because I want to just get into this mesh thing because it's, you see that's, and now I have to go and create the all thing again. So these ones at the bottom are going to be off, right? So if this happens to you, things disappear. Just go into the Control L, and you may have to redefine all, meaning all. For some reason, Archicad didn't accept all these in all. So I'm just going to turn them all on for now, and we'll come back to that other thing in a minute. I just want to try and get you onto the mesh thing. So I'll click Update, go OK, and they're all back there. So let's go to the Mesh tool, and this is the bit where you want to kind of be sure of your levels. So that would work. 8700 is less than 8800, which is 8.8 meters. So that means we're kind of slightly below to kind of start doing our sculpture. And up here you've got 9850. So I could add 2 meters onto that. It doesn't really matter. Or whatever it is, 1300. We'll bring it up to 10. And 10 meters is more than the 98 that you've got 9850, which is there. So you want to make sure you've got it in the right layer. We'll try design site mesh existing, which is what's there. I tend to leave this little hovercraft one here, and then we're going to make sure it's the right story as well. And if you got that all set up, hopefully we can then just do something with the Harry Potter tool. So what I tend to do is just kind of position the mesh DWG, go in, press the space bar, and I hover around here, and see that little black line, click it. And you'll say, well, nothing's happened, Malachi, but I'm in the mesh tool, go Control A, I've actually got a mesh. And then if I go Show Selection 3D, I've got my site, but it's flat. So we're now going to start to put some levels onto it. So I just go back to my view, and this is where you got to be really careful, guys. Put the levels in. You got to be in the mesh tool. Well, I'm not sure, but this is what I find works for me. So if somebody else has got a more efficient thing, they can tell you. But I'm going to select the mesh. When I go Control A or Edit, Select All Meshes, you only want to see one up there. If you see more than one, you must have clicked too many times. Sure, you know how to do this? Does she know? Do you want to ask her? Is she okay? Do you know how to do this mesh yourself? Okay, she's confident enough. That's good. So if you see 4 or 5, because we've had people have clicked and have end up with a kind of bunch of bananas, 7 or 8 meshes, and you don't want. Nothing against bananas; they're great superfood, but in terms of meshes, please don't. So make sure you're in the mesh tool, make sure that's selected. And look, people have different ways of doing this. Felicia does different, Richard does different, Michael Gray. I'll just show you a way that seems to work for me. So I'm going to do the corners first. So I'm going to left click here, a little pop out. I'm going to go to this thing called Z, because you've got X, Y, Z is kind of the elevation one. And this is where you've got to start to be very careful. make this project 0, because that's where our levels are from. And don't click apply to all, because we just want this one level. And you might say, well, what do I put in there then? We're going to put in 800. And just click OK. And if you do that for all the corners, again, I'll just go through. So that one, you see, it just takes everything that's been the mesh height that we set. So this one is 9,400. Project 0, apply to all. And I mean, it doesn't matter if you do the contours first. Just make sure you do it nice and slowly. This one's 9,850. Project 0. And if I do the other corner, you might see there's a bit of a slope starting to appear. Okay? So what we'll do is we'll just keep it selected and go show selection in 3D. And I think you see the way there's a bit of a slope starting to appear there. Okay, so it's going the right way. I would always go 5 save then. Because we've done a bit of work and you know, sometimes ArchiCAD can be a bit funny. Okay, this is where we try another little bit of magic. So be in the mesh tool, select the mesh, let's do the contours. So I'll do this little small one up here first. And this is where you call Harry Potter again, spacebar, hover around, get that little black line, click, and you get a very strange dialog box. And what we've been told to do, and what we do is this thing called no surface fitting. And you'll say, what does that mean? I have no idea. That's the honest answer to that. It's just in the manual. I don't think none of us seem to know what that means, but we've been doing it for years. Click that, and you should see some nodes appear. So I'm going to do all the others like that. Now, let's just, well, I'll do all the others as well, just to show you again. So spacebar, hover. I tend to try and grab the little black line. It'll default to no surface fitting, because that's what I did before. It's only picking up one contour, which is what I want. Because when we did it the old way, for some reason, it was kind of being a bit corrupted. So we're nearly there. So what I've got now is I've created contours. Let's see, show selection in 3D. And see the way it's got these lines now. So what we have to do is put, and you might think, God, that's a lot of dots, and it is. But ArchiCAD is able to do most of them at the same time. For some reason, anytime I do it, I have to manually do these ones on the edge. Well, Richard said when he does it at home, and we can't quite work out why, but obviously it's preferable if it works the way his does. It seems to do it all at the edge, but for some reason, when I do it at the boundaries, it seems to have a bit of an issue, but we'll show you how to fix that anyway. So look, when you're putting the levels in on the contours, it's very similar to what we did for the corners, up to a point, up to a node. So, okay, left click, and because you were in the Z thing before, it goes, you want a mesh point out? Yes, I do. But look, be very careful. It kind of will take it from first floor, it's something, so you say project 0 please, and you want to do them all at the one time, or as many as you can. And then we got to just kind of see what level. I'm going to put in 8850. Click. And that's very important to apply to all, because we want to try and get all those ones right. So I chose a dot inside the boundary. So let's see, I'll check one other one here now and see what happened. And see the way it's gone, 8850. That's what I want, great. But I suspect this one will have stayed the same. So you gotta just, don't check this, and then you might have to change that manually. I don't know why that happens, just for some reason, I don't know, but there you go. So if you try that, that's a couple of little watch points. Let's try the other contour. So this one is 9.1. I tend to pick a contour inside. And apply to all, change that to 9100, which is millimeters. We'll check this here, and it hasn't changed, so let's do it by itself. I'll bet you the one at the other end stayed the same as well. And I think it's obviously something to do with the boundary, but there you go. So you're probably getting an idea of what we're after. So I'm doing it quite quickly, but you guys should take it really slow. And make sure you've got project 0, apply to all. So I'll just say okay, because it should have checked the level of that one. It's 9.35. 9350. And we'll say, hit that one, 9350.
So Mel, if you put the outside one first and change that and then do select all, that doesn't.
Which outside one? I'll
Right,
try it.
the middle
I've never
one.
tried it that way. I don't think it works, but what I'm worried about is if I do that, it might change all of them.
Oh, okay.
I think that happened to me one day, so I'll try it at the end if you don't mind.
Yeah.
But let's see if the system goes okay. So let me just check these ones we've done. So that's 9350. We'll go to right down the bottom and I'll try that and see, Rachel, but I don't think so. But you could make a discovery that will name after you. You're not careful. Let's see, so 9600. Well, maybe that, I don't know, maybe that's the reason behind it. You could try doing the contours first and see if that makes sense.
That's what I do now. I wonder if that is the difference.
Well, I could try and bring it in again and see. Yeah, that would be, yeah.
That might be in order.
Yeah, that would be weird, but that's in fact weird in a good way. So let's see.
Yeah, it is a really good. Is it just all these steps that you need to follow?
Yeah, I can't remember. I mean, I think I used the steps that we run those Word files before, but let's see. That's 9850. So I just want to check. I'm just doing a quick check of these levels. So that's 9.6 down here. Yep. Okay. 9.35. So it looks as if these should be all right at the moment. So this one's 9.6. So we could try that. I'll do it again. So it should look like our mesh now. So if we say show selection 3D, see the way it's kind of, so we kind of sculpted it. That's our. Now the thing to look out for then is if you go to the sea level datum, you probably want to show the ground floor as a trace reference. And you can see how the house is not where it should be. So what I would tend to do is select the mesh and go edit, move, drag, zoom right into the corner, and then zoom right into the corner of the house. I can't remember the set out dimensions. I think it's 3 meters or 5 or something. So you look at the site plan we gave you and just go X 3000, Y 5. Does anyone have the? Actually, I have the plans. I remember. Do you know what it is? So it's X. It's 5 meters both directions. So I'm just going to go X 5000 minus Y. So that should put the house on the site. And if we do maybe, let's see, go into the ground floor plan. You can show sea level datum as the trace reference. Now don't worry about this. This is, I think, the DWG. So if we were to say view show all 3D, hopefully that should show the house and the site. Turn on all that layers. Okay. So you see the way the house is now beginning to see. And look, when you've got a slab, and if the slab is floating like that, for the purpose of design drawings, we just have to grab the slab and maybe make it thicker. It might make it just, okay, I'm going to make that about 500 or something. I just want to make it touch the ground. That's not what I want to do. Here. It could be minus 150, but I'll make this. You just want to try and fill in. See, and then you'll do the same with this slab. If there's a gap under your house, for the purposes of design drawings, we're not doing construction, just make them thicker. And you'll find then that the house and the site will start to come together pretty well. So this house, we just need to put a few more roofs on, a few more windows. And that's basically it. So, Rachel, I'll try your thing, and then I'll try the contours first to see if that. So, okay. And that process is all in the video, and it will get you a mesh. We're going to just check and see if something else happens here. So if I'm going to grab this mesh, let's see, mesh tool, Control A, got one mesh. So your question was, Rachel, if I'll just change one of these back to whatever it was, 8700. So I'll maybe make the contour 8700. Just
Probably have to start again.
well, I was going to do that for yours.
Oh.
Well, I'll try this if it does. I'll bring it in again, do it if you want. Yeah. So this one here was what? So Richard, your thing was if we do the edge one first. So I'm just gonna check.
No, so I'll just do the.
No, I'm telling you, yours is different. but
Oh, sorry.
Rachel's question was, if I did it on the edge here first and then apply to all, that's what I wanna see if what it does. I think it might change everything, but let's have a look and see, so, and then I'm gonna do a new one, use your method, Richard, just to see that, so. Apply to all, see what happens. Okay. Now, I've got to actually change it, is that right? So you said change it to 9350. Click OK. Let's see what happened in here. So it hasn't done anything there. I don't know, it seems to have, now that's why I want to check Richard's method to see if that, so we'll just delete that mesh and we'll do a new one. Using the, turn off the trace reference, and I'll just do a completely new mesh, check the settings, and we'll try doing the contour first then. So this should work. Spacebar, you can see the rectangle, so that's gonna work. You could draw the rectangle as well. Control A, I've only got one mesh. Control A is the same as going, guys. Select all meshes. If you're in the window tool, the door tool, the wall tool, it'll say walls, windows, doors. It depends on what tool you've got active. So you don't want to see 5 or 6, just one, please. So Richard, you get to the stage, you're saying that what you would create the contour, is that right?
Yep.
So I'll just go in and no surface filling. Okay. Space bar. And then the last one. Okay, moment of truth then. Okay, so talk me through it. What would you do now since you've created
So I'll
it?
just do the opposite, I just do your contours and do the corners.
So, yeah, but do you do the contours from the inside or from the edges?
Oh, no, from the inside.
Inside,
just
all right.
any- yeah,
All right, so try this one.
Same method.
Same method, all right,
It's just
9-100.
the order.
And apply to all.
Yep.
Okay, so it's up here. Big V.
We'll do the same.
It's 700. Still the same. So for some reason it's not, I don't know
It
why.
would be interesting, maybe when you then do all the edges, whether it then relocates that one to the right height, because you then do the corners.
All
I
right.
don't know,
Yeah. Well, look,
but it could be the difference, I don't know.
no, well, okay,
I don't know.
feel free to try that, but look, see today, I think it'd be a hell of a result if we get this mesh in there, because it is one of the wee trickier operations, so we've got a couple of hours now to try and make sure everybody gets one. So, if you get it done, keep doing windows, doors, roofs and furniture. If you're struggling with it and we're stuck somewhere else, make sure you just do the windows, doors and roofs, and we'll get round to you eventually. And if you're really panicking, let me know, but we'll work it out for you. So, okay, do you want to try that? Download the drawing first. Moodle's really playing up, we'll try and get you some other ones.